Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. We had a very busy show today. We had the news, and then we had Tracey coming on to talking to us about the ticket scheme. We then had Ewen Cameron coming back on to talk about the Hearts game, with Macar coming on to preview the St Johnstone game, and finishing up with your guys' questions. Just wanted to say before we got started, as well as the likes of iTunes and Spotify, you can now find us at hibstalk.com. Nice and simple, hibstalk.com. Anyway, enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gavin. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stephen.
Hello.
So we've got a very busy show today, so we're just going to quickly fire through the news. First bit of news we've got is the Scotland squad. There's been a few interesting call-ups. It's good to see Jordan Archer staying in within the squad. John McLaughlin of Hearts. Barry Douglas, who's been doing really well for Wolves. Scott McKenna, Aberdeen, and Oliver McBurney, who's on loan from Swansea at Barnsley, yeah. And more importantly for us, and this is what we're going to talk about, Dylan McGeoch's been included in the squad along with John McGinn. So Dave, let's start with you. This is a bit of an obvious question, but does Dylan deserve to be called up to Scotland squad?
100%. He's been our best player this season, and the fact that he's not been carrying injuries, just has a decent run at it, and he's been rightfully rewarded with a call up. And
Stephen, does this affect our chances of keeping a hold of him?
Aye. Yeah, definitely. No, this was my biggest concern when the team was getting announced, was that McGeoch would be included, because obviously his performances have been outstanding this season. Can't fault him at all, and then he's refusing to sign his contract that's still on the table, and now he's been called up to the Scotland squad, which will bring a lot more interest in him. Be a few scouts, I'd imagine, up at Hampden in March for the Costa Rica game. So no, I'd like to see him stay, and I'd like to see him do well for Scotland, but it will affect our chances of keeping him big time.
Obviously the three of us are Scottish, so just quickly, your overall thoughts on the Scotland squad. Does it make you a bit more excited about the upcoming friendlies?
Oh, I hope that McGinn and McGeoch get a chance, and then they just go along and just sit at the side of the park, and they're not just there for the experience and all that caper. But the strike force worries me a wee bit. Do you know, I think it'll worry you a wee bit? It's like off a week.
The likes of Matt Phillips hasn't been doing it for West Brom.
No, doesn't inspire me when I look at that. It's like a weak point, and then obviously we've got three decent left backs. I'd imagine Tierney will play right back.
Unless Patterson plays there.
Aye, but then
although he's been playing
centre mid for Cardiff, so
and doing brilliantly.
Aye. So I don't know if he's going to do well going back into right back if he's not been playing in that position. So we seem to be really strong in some areas and not so strong in other. I'm quite glad McLaughlin started playing well for Hearts, because otherwise we were struggling for goalkeeping options. I know we've got that boy from Millwall, but I'm going to be honest, I've not seen much of him.
No.
So, but I would have liked a better strike force. If we had Griffiths, I would have probably been a wee bit like made up for it, but it is only friendlies. We are as well having a look at everybody.
The thing I like about McTominay is McTominay. The thing I like about Oliver McBurney is he's a big physical striker, and I can't remember, it was he was playing against, it might be Man United or something, and Swansea started him up top on his own. It might have been Liverpool actually. Anyway, somebody will correct me, and he really gave a good go of it and really sort of held the ball up well, and first Premier League start, but you couldn't tell. And I'm glad to hear that he's doing well at Barnsley, and been rewarded with a Scotland call up.
No, fair play. It wouldn't have surprised me if he ended up at Rangers. He was linked to Rangers quite heavily in January, and he is a big Rangers fan. So it wouldn't surprise me if Rangers got him next year. Anyway,
back to the Hibs. So what a weekend. So unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that Hibs won 2-0 on Friday night, and then on Saturday the development team won 3-2 against Celtic, and then on the Sunday Hibs ladies went away to Glasgow to play against Rangers and won 2-1. If Carlsberg did weekends, other beers are available.
It's a brilliant weekend. Obviously we'll talk more about Friday night in a bit, but you can't really get much better than that. And then results went our way as well elsewhere.
Yeah, like Aberdeen dropping points,
Rangers drop points, and it's like, if it's still a bit of a long shot, but it's no unfeasible that we kind of catch Rangers. But the fact that Aberdeen have dropped closer to us today is brilliant.
Next bit of news, we kind of really talked about a lot last week, was we talked about Neil Lennon signing up for HSL. This week, the club captain, David Gray, has also done the same. But, I mean, we talked about this last week, and obviously just sort of reiterating this will really draw a lot of positive attention towards HSL and hopefully encourage fans to sign up as well, which then means more money for Lennon and the squad and all that sort of stuff to build the club. So last week whilst we were recording, the news broke that Hibs were launching a ticket exchange scheme, which we did have a quick look into and thought about recording, but we thought rather than giving out false information, we'd get Tracey on and get her to explain it a bit more. So Tracey, am I right in saying it's been trialled between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, that's correct.
And so what, just sort of explain to the listeners exactly what the ticket exchange scheme will allow fans to do.
Yes, certainly. Well, basically, there has been a lot of supporters been in touch regarding games that are sold out or nearly sold out. And obviously, when we're saying a game sold out, there's still obviously some empty seats. The season ticket holders obviously haven't released their seats. And obviously, it's to make it a little bit more simpler for season ticket holders for these games, that they can actually just go in online and release their seat, and then obviously that then becomes available on the ticketing system. So it's to make it a little bit easier for these games, so that when a game's sold out or close to being selling out, they will be the games that we'll be using the system for.
So it'll only be selected games?
Yes, So for games like your Hearts, your Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, they're the games that we've come close to selling out, or we've had to obviously open the south stand. So obviously they're the games that we would start to then use for the ticket exchange scheme, but they'll be dealt with on a game-to-game basis, based on how ticket sales are going at the time. So
not a Hamilton on a Wednesday night when there's been a bit of snow and folk might be a bit unsure about going, so I'll just hand back my ticket.
Yeah, unless a game like your Hamiltons, your Ross Counties at home, become, a big event and everybody's wanting to come along to the game. Obviously, as we're getting into the end of the season and obviously we're fighting for a European spot, the games are coming thick and fast, and obviously they're a little bit more tastier at the moment.
Aye. I mean, Dave, you sort of mentioned that earlier on, but you often see a lot of empty seats in the famous five.
It's just the stand behind the goals. You kind of notice that's probably the one that's like most, like the empty seats are in when it is a sellout. But that's obviously what Tracey's just saying. But I've not read anything online regarding it because I knew Tracey was coming on. I'm quite lazy. I was like, oh, Tracey will just explain it to me. No point me reading anything. So just quickly on that. So see when you release your seat, Tracey, and then somebody else can buy that seat.
Yes.
Do the fans get a refund on the season ticket, or is there anything that happens with the next season? Because I know Rangers, if you release your season ticket with Rangers, you get the price of that ticket off next year's season ticket to save them doing refunds, but you still get like a wee bit of something back, or do you just lose your game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's just a trial at the moment, just to see, what the kind of uptake's going to be like, if it's going to be something that's worth carrying on to next season. Obviously, there's no incentive at the moment because the club felt, obviously, the people have already, phoned and released their seats prior to those games.
Yep.
So obviously, it would be a bit unfair to give supporters now an incentive when they've released their seats previously to help other supporters and not had any incentive. So obviously, if the uptake's good and it looks like it's going to be a system that, supporters are going to take to, and it's going to be something that's helpful, then obviously they'll look at ways on which they can incentivise it and make it a little bit more appealing for season ticket holders to give up their seats. It may be that it's something towards next year's season ticket, or some sort of kind of voucher or whatever. There isn't anything really necessarily in place at the moment. It's more to see how this trial works, and then they'll look at different ways on how they can make it a little bit more, putting an incentive for supporters.
Aye, so I would hope that fans wouldn't be wanting a refund on that anyway, because you're committed to your season ticket, and I didn't mean it like that. That's how Rangers work theirs. It was just to see if there was anything like that. But like even just, it's obviously you want all season tickets, like you buy with the intention to go. It's just in the case of the off chance you can't make it.
Exactly.
Just
I'm sure some of us have probably, said to somebody, you can, I'll upgrade this ticket, or I'll do this for you, or I'll do that for you, and probably not really taking anything for it, or and just giving up the seat to help a supporter. And I suppose when we do buy our season tickets, at the start of the season, you just don't know when the games are going to be played, if they're going to get moved. So unfortunately, it's just the nature of being back with the big boys. It's not a guaranteed 3 o'clock on a Saturday anymore, which I'm sure we're all preferring. But obviously, it just helps, when we get these big games. If you can't go, it's a good way to, release your seat, help another supporter. And obviously, it wouldn't be a full refund probably for that actual ticket, because it will come at a cost, obviously, for Hibs as well, using the system. But there will be some incentive in place should we carry that on to next season.
You mentioned people had previously given up tickets, and I know it was getting trialled for the first time for the Hearts game. How did you find it went? Because I think there was still a lot of people going privately and things like that. But I mean, obviously, it was just announced a few days before. Some people maybe not aware of it. But how did the first trial go?
Yeah, it went not too bad. And I noticed that a few comments on the system saying that people had actually been lucky in getting tickets due to the exchange scheme. I had a friend who got a ticket on Friday. They were saying, "Oh, do you know any tickets?" And I said, "Look, literally nothing left. Just keep trying the system. Someone might release," and they managed to get one that way. So it has worked, and some people have been very lucky in getting tickets. I think it's just your pot luck on when you're on the system.
I think the fact, I mean, you look at the attendance. I mean, I know it's a derby and stuff, but the fact that we still managed to get it on a Friday night, 20,100 and something, shows that it probably did play a part in those tickets getting allocated to people to make sure it was, because there has been like sellouts this season that they've been announced the attendance, and it's been like 19,000, and it's
no, totally.
Wait a minute, what?
I thought it was meant to be over the 20,000 mark.
What was the other question there? Sorry, I'll edit this out. See, again, the great thing. I was already to say something there. Damn, you guys got any other questions as well? I think.
No, it's good that we're even in this position that we can start talking about this, because obviously a few years ago the stadium was empty all the time. You couldn't even have dreamed to be into this stage where you're needing season ticket holders to release the ticket. So it's just
definitely.
It's a brilliant position to be in, and I think it's a good idea with the club because it gets bums and seats, and it gets a wee bit of urgency back into people looking for tickets as well, that people won't hold off anymore, and may actually get people being like, shit, I want to go to the Hibs game. The atmosphere might be quite good, big crowd, better get along, buy a ticket like the now before it sells it. So it could actually work that way as well.
No, totally. And I know I've seen some comments from people saying, oh, we're a bit behind with doing things like this, but I think when you look at it, we were down in the Championship. I think we had a lot of things to get done elsewhere in the club and on the park, before. And now we're starting to be able to look at all these things, that supporters are looking for. So, it might have taken us a little bit longer to get there, but I do think there was obviously other important things that we had to get done at the club first. But it's good now that, we're back up there in the Premiership. We're fighting for a European spot. Things are looking great on the park, and now we can start looking at, these kind of things as well. So it's good, and the fact that we're getting such great attendances just goes to show how good things are on the park, and that we can start putting systems like this in place.
So with the system, I mean, the three of us are all season ticket holders, but say hypothetically I wasn't a season ticket holder and I wanted to go to a game, and it was a sellout. Would I then, so on this thing, would it be a case of, is it a first come first serve, you go on and you sort of get put on a waiting list, and then when a ticket becomes free, that's when you get notified that, or is that how it works? I'm just sort of speculating here.
No, you would just log in just like you would for any other game to look for a ticket, and any seats that had been released would then be there for you to select. it brings up your interactive map and it tells you what seats are available. So it would just be like that, just like any other game. You would just go on and obviously look for a ticket.
See, obviously, like you've said that this has been trialled in the SPL this season, but like coming into next season with the prospect of European football, do you think it'll go into they kind of games as well? Like obviously, might only be one game depending on how far we progress, but I mean, would that be a possibility come the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the games they're kind of looking at, so, the games that are coming, looking like they're going to be sold out, or are sold out, because obviously season ticket holders will probably, as usual, have a deadline as to when they can purchase their seat, and then obviously then they'll be released, and then it'll be a case of once it's nearly sold out, or if it's sold out, then it's a possibility that system could work for those games.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming on and sort of giving us a bit more details about that, and hopefully people listening will be a bit more clued up about it now. So that's a big help, Tracey. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. There is a Q&A on the link for the news article as well. So if anyone clicks, if they've got any questions, or if they even want to drop me a PM or an email, then I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
Fantastic, thank you very much. We're just about to speak to Ewen Cameron about the derby. Just your quick thoughts on the game.
Absolutely brilliant. What a derby. It was my little girl's first derby as well. She's just 6 and she just absolutely loved it. Scotty Allen and McLaren's goal, they were just absolutely brilliant goals. So yeah, really pleased. Great team performance. Feel there's a real confidence about the team and they're all working really hard for each other at the moment. So no, absolutely brilliant. You always love the bragging rights when it comes to derbies, so happy people. Fantastic.
And are you heading up to St Johnstone on Friday night?
Yes, got my tickets. Luckily be on the away season ticket, so and my mum had my niece and nephew watching the derby. She just lives not far from Perth, so I think they're all wanting to come down and see the game now as well. So it'll be a nice family night out in Perth on Friday.
Brilliant. Well, we'll look out for you then, okay?
Brilliant. Will do. Take care.
See you later on, Tracey. Thanks.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. So, Ewen Cameron said he would come back on, win, lose or draw, and he's been a man of his word and came back on. How you doing, Ewen?
Not bad, mate. How are you bunch of wee fannies?
Way better than you.
Well, listen. Remember what I said on Friday night? I did say my heart said 1-1, but my head said 2-0 Hibs, and I was bang on the money.
So, did you put money on it? Did you put any money on it? Did you put money against your own team?
Listen, wait. I never bet against my own team. I don't bet on my team at all, but you would never bet against your own team, so no, I don't put any money on it.
You'd see, to be honest with you, you'd probably make quite a bit of money if you started betting on Hearts losing derbies.
Oh, that's actually the best line you've come up with since I first spoke to you.
That's Dave, by the
way. I know we need to differentiate in between each one. You need to
I'll start saying my name before it. Hi, Dave speaking.
Dave, my God, Dave, you've actually got a funny line in you. Well done, mate.
Cheers, thanks very much. Bye. Anyway, get it up you. That's the last thing I wanted. Well, that's the other thing I wanted to squeeze in there, eh?
But you saying get up, it really doesn't mean that much, because I thought Hibs were going to win. I've said that Hibs have been a better team this season. I said that Hearts are going through a transitional period. So Hibs winning wasn't a shock in any way. Yeah, I was still pissed off, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see my team get beat. But as it stands right now, Hibs have got a better manager. They've got a better squad. You're going through a pretty decent time of it just now, but it won't last forever, and we'll regroup, and we're in a transitional period, and we'll soon rule Edinburgh once again. I mean, that's inevitable. When it'll happen, I'm not sure.
So I seen on Twitter you were getting a bit of stick with off Hibs fans, bant on that before the game, and then after the game you've been arguing with Hearts fans a bit about Levine. So as your view on the whole Levine thing is you just want him out, aye?
I have always been of the opinion that Craig Levine was never the right man, and I've been consistent with that. I've never changed my tune when it comes to Craig Levine. I do think that he, in a way, holds the club back, being director of football. I don't think we'll ever get a manager of note For example, Neil Lennon would never work under those circumstances. He's his own man, is Neil Lennon. He's a proper manager, and he wouldn't work under that. So that's the problem that Hearts have got just now. So Anne Budge will find herself in a difficult situation come the summer. What does she do? I don't know if she gets rid of her director of football, which is Craig Levein, and then they bring in a new manager. I have no idea what will happen, but it's a difficult position to be in. I'm not a big fan of Craig Levein. Listen, I'm talking about his management style. I'm not a fan of, but I do like him. I've met him on numerous occasions. I've sat with him. I've spoke to him. Nice guy, pleasant guy, football guy. But I think his time's gone.
So if I mean, I know you said you didn't bet much with your team, but if you were to put a bet on it, would you say it would be they're out of the club altogether next season, and or director of football are still in charge?
Good question. Jeez, the role would have for him if he's not going to be manager of Hearts next season, the role for him within the club would have to change, where he wouldn't have a direct influence on what happens with the first team or who is recruited. In regards to players, because if you were to bring a manager, and whether it be a Neil Lennon type manager or a Stevie Clark or anyone of note, they'll want to do it their own way. So they'd have to find a different role for Craig Levein, and I'm not sure that he would back down to something else. I just don't see him doing that. So I think it would either be A, he stays on as manager, or B, continues as director of football and we get another Cathro or Robbie Nielsen type manager in, or he goes altogether. It'll be one of those three. I think if I'm putting money on it right now, I think he might go completely.
Wow. Aye. Might get rid of the hoofball.
No, I just think the Hearts fans they're split just now. There's a lot of Hearts fans who think that there's good things going on at the club, and that's right. And there's a lot of great things going on at Hearts just now, but that's off the field. On the field, we're absolutely shambolic. I mean, we really are. We've got a few players in there who are on loan that we're probably unlikely to keep next season. I think we're in a bit of a mess in regards to the state of the squad, and it needs addressing completely.
So we'll kick on with the derby on Friday night and sort of talk through the game. Dave and Stephen, what was your guys' thoughts on Lennon's tactics? I know beforehand we talked about Porteous maybe playing instead of McGregor, but McGregor played, and maybe would Bartley play instead of McLaren? Do you think Lennon got it right?
In a way, aye, but I says to you before the game that we would be playing for a 1-0 if we had went 1-0 up, and that's exactly what happened. As soon as Scott Allen scored, the first thing he done was pulled Allen off and then put Bartley on. So Lennon was happy to settle for 1-0. It's been the exact same in every single derby this season. As soon as one team go up, they're just quite happy to sit back. And I mean, we were lucky that Hearts were playing as bad as they did, because it allowed McLaren to have two good shots. One of them hit the crossbar, fantastic save from McLaughlin, and he's obviously justifying his Scotland call-up. But Hearts were shambolic in the second half. So,
Ewan, what did you make of the Hearts lineup?
I mean, there's not much more we could have done differently, to be honest with you. We could have gone a back three and put Hughes in there alongside Berra and Suter. But yeah, there's not much more we could have done, if I'm being honest with you. I thought Naismith was anonymous. Lafferty, he tried, but he's not got the pace. He doesn't hold the ball up particularly well either. He was pretty ineffective. And I think the point that was made there about as soon as Hibs went one up, I think Neil Lennon knew that we didn't have a goal in us. We didn't look like we were going to score. We could have been playing until the following week and we wouldn't have scored. We didn't even have a shot on target. I didn't think we carried much of a threat. I think Levein set up that he would have been happy to take a point, and if we could have nicked a goal, then brilliant. But we were never really set up to go and win that game. I think it was all about stifling Hibs, keep Hibs at bay, and just see what happens towards the end of the game, and maybe try and nick one at a set piece. Didn't work out like that. Hibs were the better team. Hearts, for me, set up to stifle Hibs and to try and stop their players from influencing the game, the likes of McGeoch and McGinn. I said in a tweet after the game that I thought Dylan McGeoch was man of the match. He absolutely controlled the middle of the park. I know a lot of the headlines were about John McGinn because of his drive and runs and the power that he's got, but I thought Dylan was outstanding in the middle of the park. His passes were always forward. He had his head up. He was looking to make a forward pass. I thought he was outstanding and richly deserves his Scotland call-up. He's a great wee player. Unfortunately for Hibs, he won't be there in the summer.
Which you seem very confident about. But yeah,
he's definitely gone. I'm telling you right now, Dylan McGeoch's gone. John McGinn will be gone as well. 100%. Those two, you won't keep those two. They're too good for Hibs. And that's not me saying that as a Hearts fan. If they were at Hearts, I'd be saying the exact same thing to you. John McGinn, Dylan McGeoch are better than Hibs. They'll go into something bigger and better. I think McGinn will end up at Celtic, and I think Dylan McGeoch will end up down south. I know that Aberdeen are interested in McGeoch, but he's not going to go to Aberdeen. He'll end up going down south.
You mentioned Naismith a minute ago. I have to say, I mean, I praised him on last week's podcast and said that he was one of the Hearts players that I think would get into the Hibs team. But I was so disappointed with him. And fitness-wise, I mean, I think he looked more his former Kilmarnock strike partner's Chris Boyd's age rather than his own age. I couldn't believe how unfit he looked.
I agree with you. He looked unfit, and he was very much Chris Boyd of like 2 years ago. Didn't offer anything, which I was really surprised at. I know he was carrying an injury. I know he'd missed a couple of games beforehand, and I think he was thrown in at the deep end with this game. I think because of the pace of it, the power of it. And I just don't think he ever really got into the game. So maybe he could have started on the bench. But again, look who we had on the bench. There wasn't much going for us. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't much to pick upon. And what could you have done differently? I mean, we brought in a 16-year-old.
That was the point I was just about to make there, Ewan. I mean, the fact that Harry Cochrane comes off after 13 minutes and then you bring on another 16-year-old to replace him. I mean, it kind of says a lot about the way that you were set up and the way that you had to utilise your bench. I mean, you have Ross Callaghan there, and the fact that he never even come on in the midfield role.
I think that was probably after because he had a performance at Motherwell, didn't he?
But at the same time, I mean, you've got to think logically. Like you didn't bring another 16-year-old onto a derby after the other 16-year-olds just pulled up after 13 minutes.
It just shows the issues that Hearts have got just now. Don't get me wrong, the two young lads, they've got bright futures, and I think they'll be a great Hearts players in the months and years to come. But let me ask you a question about Hibs. Can you finish top three?
I've said for the start that we've got to finish second this season. I still agree with
we're no catching Rangers. Even though they lost against Celtic, we're no catching Rangers. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
This is what I've got to put up with every single week, Ewan.
I genuinely think we can push Aberdeen. It'll be tough because I've always said I think Aberdeen are a couple of years ahead of us in terms of the squad they've been building. They did obviously take a knockback, selling a few players, but now they've got McGinn back. But yeah, I think we can really challenge Aberdeen for third. What's your thoughts?
I actually look. If you look back at the defeats that Hibs have had this season and some of the stupid results you've got at home to Hamilton and what have you, you'd already be up there challenging for second, if not second place at the moment. You've had some really weird and strange results at Easter Road, particularly Easter Road, which is bizarre. You've been better away from home than you have been at home. I personally think that result on Sunday, Celtic beating Rangers, and because of the way that you have played against Rangers and Celtic and Aberdeen through the course of the season, apart from the 4-0 game at Pittodrie, forget that. I actually think you've got a half-decent chance of finishing second. I really do. I think there's something about Hibs just now. They're a goal threat. They've got pace. And the three midfield players of McGeoch, Allen and McGinn, I think you're a good bet for second place. I really do. I'm not just saying it because I'm speaking you three fannies, but I do actually think you've got a good chance of finishing second. You're a good manager, you've got a good team, good squad. I think you've got a half-decent chance. What's the points difference between you lot and Rangers just now?
There's 7 points and we've got a game in hand.
How's the game in hand way?
Hamilton.
Home at Hamilton. So that's
well, it'll be down to 4 then. So yeah, and you've got a brilliant chance. And the next game against Rangers is where? Is that at Easter Road?
It's not been. It should be,
yet. But there's a whole thing with the split that it might be Kilmarnock and Hibs might get punished and have to go to Ibrox 3 times in a season.
Oh, that'll be if that's what decides whether or not you finish second, and that's an absolute disgrace. But yeah, if you go down to 4 points, and if you do get Rangers back at Easter Road, then you never know, you might just finish second.
We've beat them there twice before. We'll just make it a hat trick of wins at Ibrox easy.
I know you've done well at Ibrox, if truth be told, but yeah, and that's why I believe that obviously your two midfielders will leave in the summer, and I think Neil Lennon, wherever he finished the season, he ain't going to better that next season, and that's why I think he might see it as an opportunity. I've taken Hibs as far as I can go. I ain't going to take him any further than that. Then he may look for pastures new as well.
So the game on Friday night, very scrappy first half. Other than McGinn having a shot which came from a short corner and went a wee bit over the bar, can any of you think of any chances that either team had that were of note?
I thought that's when Hearts were the better, like doing better. They were kind of doing exactly what Craig Levein wanted, and I think that was a draw. And then as soon as we did go 1-0 up, that was him. He just didn't have a plan B. And then he couldn't do anything about it, and it was just basically the game was either going to play it sell out or we would get a second, and that's exactly what happened. But it was Craig Levein's comments after the game that he said that obviously the 2 goals were scrappy, but I don't know what you think, and I don't know what he's talking about there. The second one a wee bit, but the first one was class.
No, I wouldn't say either the goals were scrappy. I mean, scrappy in the sense that you shouldn't really lose a goal from a throw-in. But I thought McLaren did brilliant, man. He had 3 defenders around him, and then he battled away, and it was a really tidy finish into the corner, gave McLaughlin no chance. In regards to Scott Allen's goal, I mean, as Andy Walker said in commentary, that is so difficult to do. What a skill, what a shot on the half volley to generate that sort of power, and it absolutely floored McLaughlin because he didn't even see it. I mean, I think he noticed it once it was past him. He didn't even move. So yeah, I thought the 2 goals were really, really good goals. 2 great finishes. I wouldn't call them scrappy. Maybe scrappy from a Hearts defensive point of view, but not the goals themselves. I thought there were 2 really tidy finishes.
Because as well as the other thing that Levein says, I don't know if you'll agree, he was saying that they thought the game was quite even up until then. But does that not concern you a wee bit that he thinks that that's a acceptable performance for a derby?
Nah, Hibs were always the team that looked the more threatening, and I thought the first half Hibs were still, for me, the better team. They looked to have a bit more intent about them without them creating too many chances, but you could see the intent. I thought Boyle coming off the wing and using his pace to cause us problems as well. But then I don't know what Neil Lennon said in the dressing room, but when you came out for that second half, you seemed to push up another 5-10 yards and kind of put us under a bit more pressure, and you kind of built up the pace as well. So yeah, it was always going to head for a Hibs victory. I never at any point thought Hearts were going to win that. I didn't feel at any point we were going to score. I didn't feel like we were that threatening. So I was watching the game really with my hands over my eyes, if I'm being honest with you. It was just a shocking performance all around. And for an Edinburgh derby, I just thought we weren't really in it. There was only one team that wanted to win it, and that was Hibs.
That was the second league derby in a row that you haven't had a shot on target in it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's two derbies in a row now. I mean, that's just scandalous.
Yeah,
absolutely scandalous. For that reason alone, Levein should go.
I mean, do you feel as though it had like the proper feel at a derby? Like, I mean, obviously the fans react the same way in every derby, but I mean, in terms of gameplay and that, there wasn't any of the strong challenging or that. I mean, probably because you were playing hoofball the majority of the game and it was missing the midfield, but there wasn't any of that midfield battling. I mean, I think there was 2 yellow cards recorded the whole game. And
there should have been a card earlier though.
I mean, it looked like Madden had left his cards on his at home like the first half, but I mean, it just didn't seem as though it had the same atmosphere on the pitch as a normal derby. He says that you were obviously quite flat from the start, never looked like you were going to win the game, but I mean, like, fans come with an expectation, and I mean, even Hibs fans were pretty much bored after the first 5 minutes the way the game was going.
Well, I said on Friday the only way that Hearts would have a chance of winning the game was to turn it into a war, to get into Hibs' faces and use our physical presence. We never did it. We didn't turn it into a war. We sat off, and the intent was to just upset Hibs' rhythm, stop them from playing their football, make it tough for them to break us down, and it worked to a certain extent. But it didn't have the feel of a derby of old, whereas the game between Celtic and Rangers at Ibrox, that had the feel of an old firm derby of old. That the Edinburgh derby didn't have that at all, because Hibs are just superior. It's as simple as that, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. Hibs are a superior team.
Does that hurt a wee bit to say that?
Yeah, it is. Of course it is, because you just need to watch the game on Friday, and Hibs were played at Easter Road as if they were top dogs, as if they were the better team, and they showed it and they proved it. And you could see it in Neil Lennon's face. I mean, he was smiling from ear to ear. He knows.
That was brilliant.
He knows. And he turned to the cameras and was waving at the cameras as if he was on fucking holiday. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you noticed that. It was like towards the end of the game, he's kind of smiling. The camera was on. He kind of waved to the cameras to say, hey.
We've seen that in the replay. Then obviously that was kind of run about when the natural order banner came out as well, which was superb.
Yeah, that line has come back to haunt us big style. I think Craig Levein will probably regret saying that now, and it's not a line that the Hearts fans should be using anymore. Put it that way. I don't think so. I think it's a line that should just be put away and buried. Embarrassing. If I'm being honest, embarrassing.
Do you regret bigging it up on last week's podcast?
Oh, piss off. Seriously, really? Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not even. Have you noticed that I've not even said the words yet? So I'm not even going to say it. I'm saying we should just forget those words. It never happened.
Well,
Craig Levein never said it. Hearts don't think it, and we don't believe it. Those words are gone.
So see on last week's podcast, you mentioned that Hibs are going through a phase, and that next season it'll all go back to be normal. Yous will be the big team, and that do you still stick by that?
Well, we can't get any more shit. We can't. I mean, we can only get better, and you'd like to think there's a plan in place to sort things out in the summer. My biggest issue is who's going to be that man to sort out, because it ain't Craig Levein. If it's Craig Levein that's still there in charge of Heart or Midlothian Football Club for the start of season 2018-19, then Hibs can look forward to having another year of dominance against Hearts.
So your transitional period then, does that last until Levein goes?
Yeah, I don't think it can work with Levein at the helm. I really don't. If he's manager of Hearts next season, running team affairs, then Hibs will continue to dominate in Edinburgh. It's as simple as that. Right, I don't see him turning it around.
We'll start the petition for Levein to get a contract for life then.
Piss off.
So, just finishing up with the derby then, who was everyone's man of the match? Dave?
McGeoch, without a doubt.
McGeoch.
Stephen? Aye. Ewan?
I've already said McGee, but because you've all said, I'll say John McGinn.
Right, this is the last podcast you're doing.
Stephen doesn't like John McGinn for some weird reason.
You fans haven't got a clue what you're talking about, by the way. You're only saying McGee because I said McGee to you about 10 minutes ago. You've not got a brain cell between you lot. You're only agreeing with what I said earlier, you fannies.
Yeah, you could literally ask anybody that listens to this podcast, and I've said for the start of the season that McGeoch's been head and shoulders above McGinn. I've not even wanted McGinn to play the last 3 games.
I don't know why. He was sensational against Hearts, and he drove the team forward. He was a massive part of the first goal, and
McGinn is your driving force, but McGeoch is the man that pulls the string.
Makes everything
I feel like when we came in the second half, he was the one that just sort of went, right guys, come on, calm down, we got this. Everyone just sort of calmed the whole team down and sort of started to move them forward, and then I took it for there. And I mean, I will go for McGeoch as well, but I would have went for Scott Allen if he'd stayed on for the 90 minutes. I thought that he was doing sides of the game, which I hardly ever see him do, when he was back in the left back position, sliding in for a tackle, and then when he done like the fake shot and dragged it back and then cleared it. It was brilliant to see.
What are you going to do when McGinn, McGeoch and Allen all disappear in the summer?
Allen's back next season, and then we've got Slivka, and Dave's a big fan of Scott Martin, so there's a start.
I don't know. We'll definitely not lose all 3 of them. Do you think we'll lose all 3?
All 3 are gone, yeah.
I think Scott Allen will be back.
Scott Allen will 100% sign.
By the way, how pissed off will you lot be if we sign McGeoch on a pre-contract?
There's no chance for that. Absolutely no chance.
He doesn't want to go backwards in his career.
I know. How much you had to drink the night with your dinner?
Oh, you'll be raging if he signs for Hearts on a pre-contract.
That's correct. I will be absolutely fuming, but it's never happening.
You never know. Stranger things have happened in football.
You want Cummins back as well?
Do you want Cummins back?
No.
He's played for Rangers.
No chance.
Nah, he's
Didn't even want him back when he went to Nottingham Forest.
ruined his legacy.
Okay,
Nah,
right. Thank you very much for that, Ewan. I appreciate you coming on the last 2 weeks, okay?
No problem, mate. I'll speak to you ahead of the next... Well, there won't be another derby because Hearts won't be in the top six.
Oh, brilliant. This is brilliant. You're doing all the hard work for us. This is great. Okay, cheers, Ewan.
Cheers, bud. See you
Right,
later.
cheers,
See ya,
man.
bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Right.
So next up for Hibs on Friday night is St Johnstone. They're currently sitting 8th in the league, 2 points behind Motherwell and 6 points behind Hearts with a game in hand. Mac, I'll start off with you. Tommy Wright seemed to rule out a top 6 finish only 4 days ago or something after the Kilmarnock defeat. And then they've got the 4-0 win away to Dundee. Is getting into the top 6 back on, do you think?
Probably not, because I think they'll be dropping points on Friday, and they lost track of my days there. Yeah, they'll be dropping points on Friday. I think St Johnstone. I'm trying to remember. I think was it a 1-1 draw we had with them this season.
Away from home,
place.
And then they beat us.
Yeah.
They beat us 2-1 at Easter Road.
That's right. So we sort of owe them one, and I think we need to keep the momentum, going from the derby and the Aberdeen result before that. So I think it's vital that we'll keep that going. And wouldn't it be good if we get 3 points against St Johnstone just before this little couple of week break sort of thing, and then we'll come back all guns, blazing for the last push of the final bit of the season.
Aye, so fingers crossed this game takes us into a good winning run before the split. So I think, Stephen, it's fair to say they're struggling this season. They had a fantastic start to the season, but they really went off the rails since then. And then in January they lost to O'Halloran as he was recalled from Rangers. And then out of the blue they got this 4-0 win against Dundee. Where do you think that came from?
The same place that the Hearts Celtic result came from. It's just a complete fluke. I think that after that weekend they'll come Friday. We'll absolutely hammer them. I think probably get about 3 or 4-0 win there, and then
Really?
100%. I can't see St Johnstone being any opposition for us, considering the teams that we've beat recently. I think that we'll walk over St Johnstone. And again, I would drop McGinn and play Bartley. I'm joking.
Right, Gav, you read it in that last bit. You were going fine there, Ty.
No, I'm being serious. I was only joking. I think that we will walk over them though. I think it'll be an easy win for us on Friday.
I like your confidence. I mean, I think the thing is, from a Hibs point of view, is that we don't want it to be a sort of after the Lord Mayor show sort of thing on Friday night. It's really important that we sort of keep the intensity going that we showed on Friday in the derby, and just keep focused and keep at it, and more importantly, get at it from the first minute on Friday.
I
don't want any hangovers from the derby at all.
Yeah, and I think that based on that though, the way that Lennon's instilled confidence in the team, I can't see us dropping that. We've come off wins against Aberdeen, Rangers, Hearts now, in 3 of the last 4 games. I genuinely can't see us losing to St Johnstone, and we had the exact same confidence as when we were supposed to be playing Hamilton in midweek, and we've not beat them this season. So I think that I'm perfectly able to back up my confidence with Hibs at the moment.
No.
I mean, if you look at the results as well this weekend, they really went for us. With Aberdeen dropping points at Partick, Celtic beating Rangers with 10 men, they went for us, and of course us winning. And if you look at Aberdeen's next game's Dundee, and I think Rangers' game's Kilmarnock. So there's a chance that Rangers could drop points again at Kilmarnock, at home to Kilmarnock. And that's why it's really important that we get this win on Friday, and then our work for the weekend is done, and it's all about everybody else then, and they're the ones under pressure to keep going,
And the thing is, with you say about putting the pressure on, we will go third for even if we do win, we will go third, even if it is just for a day, or
Yeah.
half a day, whatever. But still, that really does help put the pressure on.
Absolutely, it's a marker. It's putting down a marker, and from where we've come from, from getting up from the Championship and to where we are now, it's absolutely brilliant. And of course, I think that like we were saying last week, I think the win on Friday has sort of cemented us in the top 4, so we won't finish any lower than fourth. And obviously, we're hoping that Aberdeen beat Kilmarnock, so fourth place would be able to get into Europe, and that would be really good as well. But we want to finish higher than that, and I'd still say it, and I've said it all season long. I still think that we'll finish second. I do.
Wow,
I really do.
Share that confidence with Stephen. So, Dave, any changes you'd make to the team?
No, I would probably play the same 11. To be honest.
Yeah. I can't see any reason to change it.
No, at all. And I'm glad McLaren got a goal for open play. I know he scored against the penalty, but it's good that he actually buried a chance. And obviously the one before that, we were rattling the bar.
Yeah.
So it was quite good that he got a goal. So I would keep the team the exact same way as now.
Macar?
I think McLaren. Sorry, just to mention Jamie McLaren there. I think he's got a new lease of life since he's been counted in the provisional Australian squad, because he obviously wants to prove himself for the World Cup, and I think we'll get really will get the best out of him. And I was delighted he got his goal, and Scotty Allen as well. Really happy for Scotty Allen. It's good that he's got a goal for us as well on Friday, and just think all round it was solid. It was a solid performance, and like you say, what's encouraging is we don't seem to be conceding too many goals at the back. I mean, I don't think we've conceded over 2 now for a long time. I think Aberdeen maybe in December was the last time we considered like that, or we conceded that many goals at Pittodrie, So I think it's really instilled discipline in the team, like Neil Lennon has, and I think from start to finish it was fantastic on Friday, and it was just really encouraging, and we could have really turned the gears up if we wanted to. That's the most satisfying thing out the lot of it.
Another interesting fact for you, Gav: 9 out of 10 of our outfield players have now scored this season for Hibs.
Oh, there you go. That's even
everybody
better. You know what I mean?
McGeoch.
We're spreading the goals around.
You need to get me gear on penalties then, just to.
To be fair, on Friday that was the first time I've seen him hit a shot this season. It never went anywhere, but he hit a shot.
I remember a few he's hit for outside the box, and like I say, it's not his strength. So, score predictions for the game. Stephen, start with you.
3-0.
Dave?
1-0 Hibs.
Macar?
I'm going to go along with Stephen. I'm going to say it's 3-0.
I'm going to go for 2-1 Hibs. I think watching the highlights of the St Johnstone game, I think they do look quite scrappy, and they can look like, I mean, the weather played a part, but they definitely can get the bounce. They look them. Sorry, I'll try that again. It looks like they've got a bit of luck going for them, the way the ball was falling for them, and just that happens again. And one of those chances, I mean, they scored 4. We can't take them that lightly. I mean, they were very, very scrappy goals, but they scored 4. We can't take them lightly.
Yeah,
it's worth pointing out as well that there's tickets still available for this game. So a lot of people mention about big away games and they struggle to get tickets for. Well, there's plenty of tickets left for this game, so get yourself along to Easter Road or get yourself online or over the phone. Get the tickets printed off and come and support the lads on Friday for yet another Friday game under the lights. And let's hope that we come back from Perth victorious.
Fantastic point. We'll leave it there, Macar.
Right, no worries, lads. Thank
you very much. Cheers for that.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
So we're going to finish up with some questions from you guys. We're going to try and do this as quick as possible because these guys are moaning about going for their dinner.
Thank you.
To be fair, I've got a decent dinner waiting on me.
What have you got?
I'm having chili wraps.
Oh, nice.
Like a wee burritos.
Alright. So like fajitas?
Yeah, but you put chili in it rather than chicken.
Oh, right, okay, aye. So, aye.
It's very decent by
Right.
Sounds decent.
So it's like, aye.
Cool. It's like a burrito style.
Oh, so you're having burritos?
But it's not a burrito though. Because it's like chili rather than like that kind of dry you mince. I didn't know what a burrito is. Is a burrito like
The one that you wrap
crisp?
up and you put in a tin foil and then
No,
you...
you're thinking of an
Oh, no,
enchilada.
it is actually it's kind of like a burrito then.
Aye.
Basically, I have burritos.
Aye.
I call them chili wraps.
You can have whatever you want inside a burrito. You can have chicken, you can have beef,
No, because
you can have turkey mince,
burritos
you can have...
contain rice. Enchiladas don't.
Oh, you're putting rice in it?
No,
Then it's an enchilada.
No, enchiladas have got to be baked.
but see if you put chips in it. I put
Then
chips.
you're Scottish.
Aye, put
Right.
chips in it.
Is that
Go.
not a
These are
hoagie or
not
something?
the questions people are asking. What you having for your dinner tonight? Stephen, quickly, what you having?
Something with pork in it.
Right.
His sounds
Okay,
shit compared
that's-
to mine to be fair.
You can well, at least I'll only get the shits for mine though.
You know what?
You probably will.
It's cooked right.
Okay.
Sure no.
Hibs. We'll start with some Instagram questions. Sharon has asked if Hearts will always be the wee team in Edinburgh from now on.
Yes.
No.
I think that depends on what Hibs do. I think Hibs need to stay on this momentum and building behind the scenes and doing the right things on the pitch, and if we inevitably sell McGinn, we invest it in the money in signing another John McGinn from Scottish football or from England or something, somebody that we can develop and sell him for more money and keep on.
I just don't want to be one of these folk that define teams by wee and big.
You want to move on past that now. We're the team in Edinburgh and they're just another team there.
We're the only team.
Okay. Connor has asked, are Rangers a bigger game for us now than Hearts?
No.
Oh, nah. As much as I love beating Rangers, and I think most of my mates would tell you that too, it becomes a slight obsession at times to them, but it's just because I really don't like them and all my mates support them. But when it comes to a derby, when you're actually like there, and there's nothing better than beating them.
And the nerves are different. I mean, there wasn't too much nerves on Friday, but the nerves were different. Are different in a derby than they are to a Rangers game.
Aye, 100%. Because you get into a derby thinking, like, oh, what the hell's going to happen? But you get into a Rangers game, like, realistically,
You just
the last
expect
couple
to
of
beat
years.
them.
What, Rangers?
Aye.
Especially if it's at Ibrox, I suppose, but nah.
So Tatties.1875 has asked, our 3-star midfielders are one on loan, one contract rebel, and one asset expected to be sold, and our 2 informed strikers and Baker are all loan deals. We could very likely lose all 6-star players. Not a question, but more a talking point. I mean, this is something we briefly discussed. We're talking about early European games next season if we were to qualify for Europe. What's your thoughts on the fact that, you know, the strike force that's doing so well are both on loan? Barker's on loan, Scott Allen's on loan, Dylan McGeoch's contract's expiring, and it's starting to look less and less likely that he'll sign a new one. McGinn will probably be sold.
Well, we're going to lose McGinn for a while, and we've done well to hold him for as long as we have, and he's got us in the position that we're in. He's like, single-handedly at times. And then McGeoch, that's probably the worst situation of the lot of them. And the other ones, like the 2 strikers, we didn't know how they were going to do. See, to be honest, having them on a loan period was the only move we could have done. If we had went and gave Canberry a 3-year deal, we'd have been like, what the hell are we doing? The guy's been on loan for Grasshopper at other clubs and not done well. If he doesn't sign at the end of the season, if we offered him a deal, I'd be amazed. Same with McLaren, where's he going to go? Like, if he's just going to probably want to keep playing football.
Apparently the German team do see him having a future, but wanted him to go out because they want him to get back to first team football and to give him an opportunity to get in the Australia squad.
But why was he not getting first team football at a second division German team when he had just come off?
I think he was struggling to settle in.
He had literally just come off 20 goals in 29 games in Australia, got signed by a German second division team, and then he wasn't getting a game. It's like, I mean, he's obviously not in our main plans. So unless we get Malonga back next season,
right, I'm not going to.
But the other one is Brandon Barker. Like, I will sign him as well. If we want to sign him, I think we will have the option to sign him.
Do we spend some of the McGinn money on him? Because Man City will want a fee. I know you go, oh, Man City, you know, they've got loads of money, but they're still a business. They will not let an asset go for nothing.
They'll not want much because he's never going to get work into plans down there. So
doesn't matter. Slivka was never going to get a deal for Juventus, but we still had to strike a deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just saying, I think the only one that we need to worry about with all that, because we'll get Scott Allen, I think, is McGeoch. and it'll be quite sad if he just leaves at the end for nothing.
I think McGeoch he'll do right by us. I think at the end of the season, I mean, we had the same problem with McGinn. Was it no last season, 2 seasons ago? And he signed a new 4-year deal so that if we had did sell him eventually, then we would get money for him. I mean, it would be a bit shady for McGeoch just to leave, I think, and I think that he's got that affiliation with Hibs fans now.
Yeah,
he's got an affiliation with the club. Like, I mean,
he'd still be a Scottish guy, even if he did leave for nothing. He'd still be a hero.
The thing is, though, I mean, I don't think anybody will say anything wrong. I don't think anybody will say anything wrong if he leaves.
If he leaves, it's no his fault. At the end of the day, we gave him obviously a deal, but we started this season with knowing that he had a year left, and I think it was because he was so injury prone that we maybe didn't let a deal, and he wasn't as key then. But
has he pushed himself this season because he knew he had a year left in his contract? Does he, like Lennon has always sort of hinted at the AGM, that he maybe pushed himself a bit more and played in more games?
Possibly, but I just think it's the injury thing, isn't it?
Anyway, the one last thing, the other player was John McGinn. I do believe John McGinn will be sold, but I'm going to make a prediction that he'll sign a new 3-year deal in May and then leave for like 6 million in August.
I'd love that. That would be the ideal situation, and I want him to go down south.
Yeah,
so I'd quite like him to do well down south and be a Scottish player that goes down, stays down there and battles it out rather than bottling it and coming back up the road at the first opportunity. Jason Cummins.
Next question is from Aidan asking, where do you think Hibs will finish the season? We've all kind of just already hinted at this talking to Ewan, but my thing's third. I think we'll pip Aberdeen. Dave?
I've been fourth for weeks now, but I think third's definitely an option now.
Right, and Stephen, you're second. Right. Matty has asked, what do you think of the suggestion that Levine started the natural order nonsense because he was trying to get his own players to believe it rather than noise up Hibs? Basically, he was trying to say, do you think it was a tactic by Levine also to get the Hearts fans on board, but maybe start to get his players? You don't think it was to get a tactic to get his players to believe it? No?
I don't think he's that intelligent. I think he's done it so that he can get the Hearts fans on board and to wind up Neil Lennon, because he knows Neil Lennon's a hothead, and after that game it was a scrappy goal, and even just the way he made the comment about the ball going over the line, he hoped it didn't go over the line but it was given so that they would win that way. The man's absolutely no class, so I think it was to wind people up.
Harrison has asked, why are we doing so well against Hearts and how long can we keep this domination going? Similar to a question from earlier on, but just how long can we keep it going before Hearts can maybe win 3-4 games back to back?
They've got a big rebuilding job. I know we might once, depend on the end of the season, but they've definitely got a big rebuilding job on the pitch. Their team's not good enough, and they're full of youngsters. So the youngsters, it might be good in a few years, but if it does take a few years, then I can see us dominating derbies for the next couple of seasons.
Next question is thoughts on Dylan McGeoch getting his first Scotland call up. I mean, we've already talked about that in the news, but that's from We Are Hibs. Give that page a like on Instagram if you've not already. So next we're on to some Facebook questions. Again, we've kind of already answered this one, but Isabel's asking, what's the likelihood of Dylan signing a new contract? I mean, if you're a betting man, what odds would you give it?
Signing a new contract, I'd probably say it's 50-50 now. I can see him signing a new contract before he leaves.
I'd go as far out as like 8-1, 10-1.
I don't think he'll sign a new contract. I think he's away. Right. Personally, because it's too good to be true, innit? You're a Hibs fan, you've always got to have a bit of pessimism in your body.
Not me.
Okay, you can only pick one loan player to keep. Who do you keep? This is from Callum Napier.
Scott Allen.
Okay, Scott Allen stays. From the rest of them, who do you pick? So you've got Barker, McLaren,
Canberra.
Canberra,
I'd go McLaren. I really like, and I people think I'm being harsh on Canberra. I do really like him, and I think he looks like a great guy and stuff, and he's a great player. But I think McLaren just needed that goal from open play to get a bit of confidence, and come the end of the season, he'll have 7-8 goals in the league.
Maybe. You might be right. But I would pick Canberra now, that's just me.
So, Billy, competition winner. That's just his name now. Billy competition winner. What's the likelihood of we've already asked about answered about Dylan signing a new deal, and if he does go, who would be a realistic replacement
for McGeoch?
Is someone in the team or someone else in Scotland that you've maybe seen that you think
It depends if McGinnis that goes well. That is because I would just bring Slavka in if we only lose one of them, and then other than that, then we would probably need.
So any players in Scotland, do you think,
Graham Shinnie?
We wouldn't get Graham Shinnie.
We're not going to be able to sign him to Aberdeen.
No.
To come down. We need to be out.
No, he just says any.
No, any realistic signings you can think of. Is there anybody at Motherwell or St Mirren or Livingston or I don't know?
Put on the spot. No, I would
not. No, you can think of us up your head.
Come back to this next week.
I might put it out to people on Twitter and see what they think.
Does it need to be like for like?
Well, it needs to be a midfielder.
Jordan Jones.
We're never going to get him either.
I think if we get European football and get a decent bid for McGinn,
could be. I mean, that's maybe how ambitious we need to be, and and then that's somebody that we could then sell on. Maybe change the formation, stick him out wide, and go the two in the middle. Or
the money Kilmarnock will want for Jordan Jones, Hibs wouldn't pay for a player for take Kilmarnock. I can't see it.
Club the size of Kilmarnock, they can't turn down $1 million for him.
And Hibs are not going to pay $1 million for a player for Kilmarnock. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Maybe that's the club we need to become, though.
I would agree.
How much did we pay St Mirren for McGinn? £300,000 to St Mirren.
But that's a big difference. That's $700,000 a difference, Stephen.
We've got more money coming in now than we had when we bought McGinn. We got McGinn when we just got relegated to Championship and spent $300,000.
That's different. It's coming from St Mirren to Hibs.
Did we not waive that £300,000 in order to put in the 30% sell-on clause?
Nobody else was interested in McGinn of that. Jordan Jones has been tipped to go to Rangers and that. No, I'm sorry. If Rangers and that are wanting him, he's going to go to Rangers.
If Neil Lennon wants to stick it up Rangers, he could put in a bid.
He could, but he'll not go.
Moving on. Livy fans got in touch, try to be wise, asking what goal was better, Derek Lilly's or Jamie McAllister's.
Leo Menace.
I can't even remember them. I can't even remember them. I had to read out because I knew he'd probably think I wouldn't, so I'm putting it in.
I can't remember them.
It was an awful day. We'll not forget about it, and they're still in the Championship, and we've won the League Cup since in the Scottish Cup. So, thanks, nice try, Liam.
We've got Livy fans trolling us. Like what?
Do you think McLaren will fulfil his potential at Hibs? Yeah, I really do. I just sort of said that there. I think confidence is a big thing for strikers, and now getting that goal in open play, he should have had two if it wasn't for a fantastic save from arguably Scotland, the goalkeeper most in form in Scotland.
What's his potential though? Is his potential
15 to 20 goals a season?
So Simon Murray potential.
Simon Murray, no.
You can't say Simon Murray's not 15 to 20 goals. He's already scored 14
in the League Cup against Peter Heath and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm talking about in the league. 15 to 20 goals in the league. The last person to do that was like Riordan. Oh no,
Chris
sorry.
Boyd's on 13 now.
No. I mean for Hibs, Lee Griffith's done it. Sorry, he scored like 28 in a season. But it's very rare that we see somebody hit 20 goals.
I can't see McLaren scoring anywhere near that.
And final question, Paul Hanlon missed out in the Scotland squad. This question's from Greg. What's your thoughts on that? What does he have to do to get in?
I was speaking to this with somebody at work today. I don't think Charlie McGrew should be in the Scotland squad. I'm no massive on Grant Hanley. I know the two of them have been doing alright at their respective clubs, but I'd quite like to have seen for the friendlies like Paul Hanlon getting a shot, but it depends on the way you look at it. It's not really about getting a shot, is it? Like a cap's meant to be like earned, but he's good enough to get one. But it's up to McLeish, innit? I don't think Hanlon will be that bored. I don't think he'll be expecting it anymore.
It's starting to get. I mean, what's he, 28 now?
I don't think it's becoming a thing, and he said that he's going to get any Scotland caps. So,
that's unfortunate. I mean, he did get called up to the last Scotland squad, didn't he? By today
against Holland.
I don't think he played, but he got called up to the squad by
Malachi Mackay.
That's the one.
Up at Aberdeen, but he just sat on the bench, so pretty much a pointless exercise. So I don't want our players going away on international duty and sitting on the bench. I'd much rather A had a break, or B spent time with the rest of the squad. So if that means no getting a call up, then sorry Paul, but you're staying with us.
Right, thanks for coming along, Dave.
Right, no worries, mate.
And Stephen.
Cheers.
And thanks to Ewan and Tracey and Macar for phoning as well. It's been busy podcasting, so it's going to be a bit of editing because it's probably like an hour or something. So. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for those who got questions in. And like I said at the start of the podcast, hibstalk.com is now up. So please find us there if you prefer to find us on a browser. Please check it out anyway, hibstalk.com. And obviously follow us on the likes of Spotify and iTunes if you haven't done already. And you can find us on YouTube. We'll put the videos up there and we'll hope to get some bonus content up in the future. And all the social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, aye. And obviously after the St Johnstone game we have the international break, but we're talking about a couple of different things, maybe doing a discussion on things like referees, or if we can, no promises, but looking at an interview with somebody as well. So watch this space, we'll get something sorted for the international break and help you have your Hibs fix